Hey there, this is Prentice, and what we're going to do today is finish up that get up so that you'll have all of the steps to practice. Up until this point, in the last video, we left off at the half windmill position. So now we're going to take the get up from that half windmill position to kneeling and all the way to standing. And just like the other videos, along the way, we're going to review some stretching, some mobility techniques, and some accessory strengthening techniques that you can do to make this position work for you. And as I've been saying, the common theme throughout all of these get-up tips is that do not progress beyond any one of the transitions that we've worked on if you haven't earned it. So if you're having trouble getting into a position, spend some time there. Spend some time there and develop your flexibility and your strength in that position. Meaning, it should be pretty stress-free. If you are thinking about a scale of your rate of perceived exertion, something like that, where 10 is where you're redlining it, and 1 is pretty easy. I want you to use a progression standard of a 5. So if it feels like a 5, go ahead and move to the next transition of the get up and spend as much time there as you need so that you can progress safely. Okay, so we're going to review the get up again. I'm just going to do it from the floor to standing because repetition is key. The more times you see it, hopefully in each of the videos, you can pick up some details that you hadn't seen before. So let's go ahead and start that get up. And I'm going to kind of talk you through the transitions as I go. I'm going to start with this bell on my side, roll, pull, and then from here, do a nice floor press, making sure that my wrists and elbows are straight. Driving into that half get up position, tall sit, coming into the windmill, half kneeling, and standing up. Going back down. Went from the half kneeling there to the windmill. Sweep the leg, tall sit, to the elbow, half get up, and roll back to the back. And I can catch the bell now with both hands. And we're done with that. So where do we go from there? In the last video, I covered the arm bar. Actually, in the last 2 videos, I covered the arm bar. So if you want, go back and review that technique. And I believe I do have a video specific to the arm bar. Just leave a comment below and I'll put the link up there. So to get into that half windmill position, the thing that I really want to do is to review that pigeon position. That pigeon stretch starts out as a 90-90 stretch. And essentially, what we're going to do is sit on the floor in this manner. We're sitting, one hip's bent to 90 degrees and the other knee. The knee is bent to 90 degrees and this back leg is kind of here behind you, kind of sitting on that back knee like an old hurdler stretch. Now, first point, if this hurts, don't do it. Like I said in the previous video, take it up to a sofa. Take it up to a sofa or a table. If not, go back to the variation of where you were stretching on your back works just as well. But since this position is specific to the Getup, we want to practice our stretch here. Start in the 90-90 position with a nice tall spine. We're going to bend at the hip and go down and hold this. Now, a set of 30 or a 30 to 60 second stretch. You can do contract, relax. For example, I'm going to take a deep breath in and tense my muscles and try to push my shin into the floor and then relax. Do that again. Inhale, tense, and relax. Okay, now when I get good at that and I can get almost all the way down, or I can get my abdomen down to my thigh here, without letting the spine bend, I'm going to go ahead and take this back leg and bring it behind me into a pigeon pose and start all over. You can see that I'm a little tight here in this position. And that back leg, the toe can be pointed, toes can be pointed or flexed. And alternatively, you can take your Getup here, get into your half windmill position, and we're going to work on something called a hip hinge. So imagine that you're sitting back with your rear end on this kettlebell side into a wall. And try to create that same pigeon stretch. And we're going to hold it. Let me turn so that you can see me here. Hinge, 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 hinge. Try to sit back. I'm imagining that I'm sitting on my shelves over there. And this arm with the kettlebell naturally ends up in that arm bar position that we've been practicing. Now from here, I'm going to try to sit and imagine that I'm pushing into the wall, creating that stretch. Breathe into it. Don't want to be stressful. This is a relatively easy position for me to be in right now. Not stressful, just kind of. The next thing that we want to do as we prep for standing is that we want to get into this hip flexor stretch. So what you're going to do is 90-90. See 90 degrees on the front leg, 90 degrees on the back leg. And what I'm going to do is tilt that pelvis, squeeze my rear end, and create a stretch in front of the thigh in our hip flexors, long hip flexors here. We sit, if you're in a sedentary job or if you have to sit in rush hour traffic or anything like that, these muscles tend to become a little active, so we have to stretch them in combination with bridges for the glutes to keep this area mobile, your hips mobile. Very important as you get into squats, especially squats with a lot of weight, deadlifts, and your kettlebell swing. Now, we have to do something about getting those arms overhead. So, one option is to get into the lat stretch. And I've covered this in a previous video about so we'll take a look at that also. I'm going to use a foam roller here, get into a child's pose position. This time it's okay for my low back to bend. And what I'm going to do is push this roller out until I feel a stretch. This lat passes right up into the armpit or axilla. And what I'm going to do is inhale, take a deep breath in, exhale. And what you probably can't see in the video here is that I'm adding a little gentle rotation. I'm trying to push this armpit into the floor. I'm going to inhale and exhale. I'll go to the other side. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay, so once that becomes easy, what we're going to do is take a kettlebell or a light weight and we're going to do a pullover. So this is how it works with the kettlebell. I'm going to grab your bell by the horns and hook the thumbs underneath so the backs of your hands are facing you. Okay, so we'll start with that position and safely roll this bell in here. You can see my palms are facing away. I'm hooking my thumb underneath and I'm wrapping my other four fingers over the handle, squeezing my forearms on the bell, keeping the elbows straight, and bringing this bell down. Okay? Safety violation there. I just ran into my other kettlebell. Now, a very important detail is you want to keep your abs tight. As I'm going down, I don't want my low back to arch. I want to keep those abs tightened. And do a pullover here. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is going to get in here and do just a little mobility exercise. So I'm going to take my club here, or rolling pin, and I'm going to just simply bring my arm above the head, try to keep the elbow straight, avoid the back arch, and then bring this arm down here, scratch my back. So, putting it all together, working on that getup. Got into the half getup position. Tall sit. Each transition, stop and make sure that you're in the right place. Do a low sweep. Get into that half windmill position. Pause. Make sure that you can breathe. Make sure that nothing's cramping, trying to maintain the position. If it does, if something cramps, regress. Regress the movement. Work on one of the previous steps. Come to the tall kneeling position. Nice hip flexor. I'm kind of in this pullover position, nice tight core. Now we're ready to stand. You're going to now stomp on the floor and stand straight up. Get back down. Okay, well there you go. That's your getup. We used a few videos to cover this, but it's important that you go through each of these steps, work through the transition slowly, because being able to do these positions, honestly, just in my experience, will make a lot of the other things that you do a little bit easier. If you want to press, you have sports that you enjoy, activities that you enjoy that require you to get into some of these positions. The getup has a lot of tools wrapped up into that entire movement that you can use to take care of your mobility, some of your strength. A lot of sports activities require us to move not only in one plane, like a traditional exercise, but we move in many different planes. We do total body training with this movement. So thank you. Please like, share the video, leave your comments, and I will see you soon. Always, if you have a question or if there's a video that you'd like to see, leave it in the comments section below, and I'll work on that for you. Until next time, train smart.